Yes, welcome back, dear viewers, to another thrilling episode of Watching the Defectives, the series where we examine political mysteries, so baffling they make the plot of a daytime soap opera look like a peer-reviewed thesis. Tonight's case takes us to the curious borough of Telford, where one politician's journey from Conservative MP to publicly supporting another party's candidate moved with all the subtlety of a marching band falling down a staircase. The subject of today's investigation is none other than Lucy Elizabeth Allen, or as I shall refer to her throughout this inquiry, the member for plot twists. Let's rewind to the very beginning. Lucy Allen was born on the 2nd of October 1964 in Cheltenham, the daughter of a farmer and a teacher, raised near Totnes in Devon, which means she emerged from a childhood containing both practical rural wisdom and homework. A dangerous combination. Now this is where things begin to sound suspiciously overqualified. She attended Durham University, studied anthropology, then attended Kingston Law School and completed a master's degree in employment law, anthropology and employment law. One degree dedicated to studying human tribes. The other is dedicated to suing them. Remarkable efficiency, you, the viewer, might ask. So she studied humans before entering politics. Precisely, I would say. Like Jane Goodall, if the chimpanzees had constituency offices. The financial district years. In 1987, Allen joined Price Waterhouse as a trainee accountant. She qualified as a chartered accountant and specialized in business turnaround, which in Britain usually means walking into a room full of panicking executives and saying, "Good news, everyone, we can still afford biscuits." Then came the investment management years, UBS Warburg, Gartmore, De La Rue, Mercury Asset Management, First State Investments. At this point, her CV reads less like a biography and more like the sponsor list for a Formula One car. But then, in 2003, the first black cloud appeared over Baker Street. While serving as head of investment trusts at First State Investments, Allen was suspended over alleged plagiarism in statements issued by the Scottish-American Investment Company. Yes, plagiarism. In finance. The one profession where people usually copy money, not paragraphs. You, the viewer, are asking, was anything proven? The important thing, dear viewer, is that in politics even allegations have sequels. She was later made redundant after First State Investments ceased managing SAINTS. And thus begins one of the great recurring themes of this story. Every chapter somehow ends with everyone awkwardly leaving the room. Family finance to family activision. In 2010, following a family bereavement, Allen visited her GP seeking help with symptoms of depression. Subsequently, Wandsworth Council launched a child protection investigation involving her son. The matter became deeply controversial. Following legal action by Allen, social services eventually decided to take no further action. Now, whatever one thinks politically, this period clearly became a defining experience for her, because from it emerged the Family First Group, a campaign organization focused on reducing the number of children in state care and reforming child protection systems. And here we encounter something quite fascinating about politicians. Many enter politics because of ideology. Some enter because of ambition. Others enter because one specific event convinces them that the entire system is broken. And once that happens, every committee hearing becomes personal. That sounds almost sympathetic, you, the viewer, might be thinking. Do not worry, normal service and sarcasm will resume shortly. The grand entrance into the political arena. In 2006, Allen became a councillor in Wandsworth representing the Southfields ward. She served until 2012. Then in 2013, she was selected as a Conservative candidate for Telford. And in 2015, history was made.
Tory celebrations in Telford as the party win for the first time.
I'm absolutely thrilled, stunned, a little bit shaken by the whole experience of the evening. It was very tight, on a knife edge throughout.
But a shock defeat for Labour. David Wright had held the seat since 2001.
In life, sometimes you win some and you lose some. And when you lose them, you have to go with grace. And I say congratulations to Lucy. You've fought very hard over the last 2 years. I hope you're going to represent us well in Parliament. You know, if life is like a book, for me, the pages turn tonight and a new chapter in my life starts.
The now former MP declined an interview.
David, just a very quick chat.
Just leave it.
His supporters rallied around him. The mood throughout the count had been tense, with early rumours that it would be a close call. In the end, the Tories won with a slim majority of 730. Change of colour here in Telford tonight. This is the first time the Conservatives have won the seat since the constituency was created in 1997. Meanwhile, Conservative Mark Pritchard increased his majority for the Wrekin.
Increased by over 1,000. I'm very pleased with that, considering a lot of the austerity measures that we've had to put in place over the last few years.
Lucy Allen's win in Telford was a devastating blow for Labour's David Wright. It now means that all 5 constituencies in Shropshire are Conservative.
Lucy Allen became the first Conservative MP and the first female MP to represent Telford, which is actually significant. Telford had been Labour-held for decades. So politically speaking, this was equivalent to discovering Hannibal Lecter had opened a vegan bakery. Unexpected, her campaign focused on improving rail links to London and tackling youth unemployment. Because every election campaign in Britain eventually becomes, "We need better trains," a national tradition second only to apologising when someone else bumps into you. The voicemail incident. And now, we arrive at one of the strangest episodes in this story. In December 2015, Alan was accused of bullying members of staff and leaving voicemail messages for a sick employee. The allegations included shouting and threats of dismissal. A statement later appeared on her website apologising for the voicemails while disputing the bullying claims. The statement was then deleted, which, in politics, is a bit like trying to erase footprints by setting fire to the carpet. Later, Alan admitted sending the voicemails was stupid and regretted shouting.
Ariane, please call me if you want to get paid notice pay. You will need to call me today, and I'm going to keep ringing you. And I also want to know where the second computer is, because we appear to have a theft from the office. So can you please call me? Thank you. I have to say your conduct is very odd indeed. But just not turning up day after day without even speaking to me. I think you must have known. You can't possibly have assumed that was reasonable conduct. But yeah, go on, call me today. Let's see if you can manage that, okay? Because we are going to have this conversation. And yeah, I'm really angry that you've left me in the lurch without bothering to pick up the phone. You've been nauseous day after day. I don't know if this is some sort of alcohol problem or whatever it is, but it's not a very good excuse, because actually it was a cough that went nauseous.
Press 2 to repeat, 3 to delete, 5 to call back, 6 9:50 a.m.
Ariane, not speaking to me has ensured that not only is my morning messed up again like yesterday, but a number of residents who were expecting to come to surgery. Now, your actions are grossly irresponsible. It takes nothing to pick up a call and say, "I'm not coming in to work today." So you are on a written warning, a misconduct written warning. And if you wish to talk about it, please do. But you have failed 3 days in a row to ring in sick, and you have let me down. without any notification, and now it's let down residents. You have no thought for the fact that you have responsibility today, and I can't put that down to sickness. I'm afraid I'm fully aware of your activities in the office while I haven't been here, and I've got plenty of evidence about you watching videos and everything else. I know you haven't been working while I've not been here, and the minute I come back to actually overview what you're doing, you disappear and don't speak to me. So, misconduct can lead to gross misconduct, which does mean termination of employment without notice. Just so you're aware of that. And I think you are aware, I know employees' rights in these issues. So, you'll know that I know what I'm talking about. I think you're very silly, very misguided. All it would have taken was one phone call, you probably would have got away with it again. But I'm afraid you don't step the mark. If you don't come in on Monday, I'm stopping your pay because I will not have spoken to you. I'll have no idea about whether or not you're ill or walked out of the job or what you're doing. As far as I'm concerned, you walked out of the job because nobody just disappeared and fell sick to their employee. So as far as I'm concerned, you just walked out because of your lack of communication with me. And I'm afraid text is not satisfactory. You could quite easily have another job for I know. And the idea that you haven't got any signal up to some text doesn't really ring true either. So there's been quite a bit of lying going on. I know about it. And I'm very disappointed for you because you had a great opportunity and you chose not to do this situation, but that's your choice. And we can move on. So, yes, thanks for not calling. Thanks for leaving a bit of good side in a mess. And I do hope you get better soon.
Press 2. 9:35 a.m.
Ariane, I'll keep calling you until I catch you. I think we need a conversation quite quickly. I don't respond to you, don't feel it's appropriate to call me when you decide to take another day sick. It's just what employees do. I'm getting more and more concerned with the lack of understanding of what an employee is. And we do need to have quite serious conversations today. And some very serious conversations next week. Please call me.
Press 2 to repeat. 3 to delete. 5 to call back. 6 to skip to next message. 9:33 a.m.
Ariane, it's Lucy here. I would like to know what appointments there are, please, for today's surgery, because I don't have that information. I totally understand that you're ill, but most people, when they're ill, they will actually call their employer and let them know what they need to know so they can get on with their day. And if you're well enough to talk to your doctor surgery, you're probably well enough to talk to me. I'd appreciate that if you don't mind. Thank you.
Now, dear viewer, what is the first rule of political crisis management? One might conclude never leave evidence close. However, it is never create audio recordings of yourself behaving like an angry PE teacher during detention. The Libertarian Saga. In January 2016, Arlen described herself as advancing a libertarian agenda. She opposed increasing state influence, including opposition to proposals such as the sugar tax. Now, libertarianism in British politics is always fascinating, because British libertarians usually spend half their time arguing against government intervention, while simultaneously demanding the government fix potholes immediately. But Allen's libertarian streak became particularly visible in one issue, the Prevent strategy. In June 2016, she introduced a private member's bill seeking to repeal provisions requiring school staff to report signs of extremism or radicalization among very young children. This followed controversial cases where the policy had allegedly been misapplied. And here again we see a recurring pattern. Lucy Allen repeatedly positioned herself as somebody suspicious of institutional overreach. Councils, social services, government monitoring, party orthodoxy. By this stage, one begins to suspect she viewed authority the way Victorian detectives viewed clowns, with profound unease. Brexit and the Great Alignment. Then came Brexit, the event that transformed British politics into a family Christmas dinner that somehow lasted 10 years. Allen supported leave in the 2016 referendum, and not quietly. Oh no, she backed preparing for a no-deal Brexit if necessary. In 2019, she even praised Brexit Party candidates as being fantastic. Conservative loyalists were not impressed, which is rather like complimenting another football club while sitting in the middle of your own supporters section. She defended her comments by saying Brexit loyalties could eclipse party loyalties. And there lies the central clue of tonight's mystery. Because once a politician publicly declares ideology more important than party, you are no longer watching ordinary politics. You are watching the trailer for a future resignation, the Facebook face plant. Now, dear viewers, if there is one thing politicians should never do, it is to edit messages from constituents. Yet in December 2015, Allen posted an email online that appeared to contain the words, "Unless you die," which naturally caused alarm. She later acknowledged adding those words from a different email, saying she had created a misleading impression. Ah yes, a misleading impression. The political equivalent of saying, yes, the ship exploded, but only aesthetically. She later apologized, but the incident sparked accusations that she had exaggerated a death threat, at which point she temporarily deactivated her social media accounts, which is generally what happens when Twitter turns into a digital reenactment of the French Revolution. You are thinking, couldn't she simply have clarified things earlier? But if politicians clarified things early, 24 our news channels would collapse within days. The parliamentary assent. Despite controversies, Allen continued to rise within Parliament. She was re-elected in 2017, then again in 2019. From 2020 to 2022, she served as Parliamentary Private Secretary to Jacob Greasy-Smug, which sounds less like a government role and more like employment at a haunted Victorian library. Just imagine the meetings. Good morning, Minister. Yes, splendid. What, carry on, tally-ho, empire, parchment monocle, penny farthing. By 2021, she had joined the Health and Social Care Select Committee, and one must admit, she had become an established parliamentary figure. But then came social media once more, because social media is the political equivalent of giving every MP a loaded blunderbuss. Eventually, someone blows their own foot off. The retweet. In May 2020, Allen retweeted a doctored video from a far-right Twitter account. The video falsely claimed Labour leader Keir Starmer had obstructed prosecutions involving grooming gangs during his tenure as Director of Public Prosecutions. The claim was false. Allen was reprimanded by Conservative whips. Dear viewer, this is why politicians should always verify sources before retweeting. Otherwise, your political strategy becomes forward first, regret later. A method also favoured by uncles in Facebook comment sections. The final curtain. And now, dear viewers, we arrive at the conclusion. The final chapter, the last page in the file marked. Things became awkward. In May 2024, just days before the end of her parliamentary term, Lucy Allen publicly supported deformed UK PLC candidate Alan Fester Adams in Telford, while still technically a Conservative MP, which the Conservative Party interpreted it with roughly the same enthusiasm as discovering your goalkeeper playing for the other side. She was suspended from the party.
Welcome back. I want to bring you some breaking news. It concerns the upcoming election in the seat of Telford, currently held by the Conservatives. The MP, Lucy Allen, who announced last year that she would be standing down at this coming general election, has put on her social media account that she, Lucy Allen, a former Conservative MP, will be supporting the Reform candidate for her seat at the upcoming election, Alan Adams. Lucy Allen, who, as I say, is going to be standing down at this election, she announced that last year, is now supporting Reform. Alan Adams. Lucy Allen has the Conservatives had a majority of 10,000 at the 2019 general election, beating the Labour Party into second place. But now it has been announced that Lucy Allen, who was the candidate for the Conservatives but is standing down at the next election, is now putting her support behind the Reform candidate. So, of course, we'll see how that plays out in Telford.
Then resigned from it the very same day. 3 days before the end of her term. 3 days. We have known people who waited longer for parcels. Reports later emerged suggesting she was considering standing for deformed UK plc, and thus the great detective mystery resolves itself. The clues were always there: the libertarian streak, the Brexit prioritisation, the praise for Brexit party figures, the suspicion of establishment authority, the willingness to defy party discipline. This was less a sudden twist and more of a slow-motion political custody battle. Lucy Allen, the Barrett Homes analysis. So what is to be made of Lucy Allen? Was she a principled rebel, a controversial disruptor, a politician constantly at war with institutions, or merely someone whose relationship with political messaging resembled a shopping trolley with one broken wheel? The answer is probably yes, because politics is rarely populated by simple characters, especially English politics, where half the country thinks every MP is a mastermind, and the other half thinks they couldn't organise a picnic. Lucy Allen's career contains genuine campaigning causes, notable political milestones, repeated controversies, and a spectacularly public break with her own party. In detective fiction, this would be called a complex suspect. In Westminster, it's called Tuesday. The conclusion. And so concludes my investigation into the curious career of Lucy Allen. From accountant to activist, from councillor to MP, from Conservative representative to supporting deformed UK plc candidates. A political journey containing enough twists to give a GPS a nervous breakdown. But remember, dear viewers, in Westminster, loyalty is temporary. Scandals are recyclable. And every politician eventually discovers that social media is merely a Victorian duel with Wi-Fi. Until next time, like, comment, subscribble, and share widely. Stay observant. Stay skeptical. Question everything. I remain Barrett Homes. And these are the files from the Defective Defectors.